Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am here with my good friends, Mr. Josh Crash Davis and Miss Deb Lutz, and we are here to go over Game 4 of the NBA Finals to be played on Thursday, June the 10th, and we are going to break it down for you. We got Deb back with us. We had to go two-person booth last time, and the crowds were just yelling at us. Where's Deb? Where's Deb? But she's back. How are you, Deb?
I missed you guys. I didn't feel like myself.
We missed you as well.
We did. I had to wear my green Celtics shirt because you weren't here.
Heard. I listened to the pod. I was listening along, and I was like, "Hey, these guys have very similar picks to me today."
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. That's good. Crash, how about you? How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's been a busy morning for me and just trying to get back into the swing of things here. And hopefully we're going to crush baseball tonight and then this Game 4 showdown slate tomorrow night. So,
yeah, we're excited. We're posting this on Wednesday for the Thursday Game 4. So give everybody
Thursday for Friday.
Or Thursday for Friday. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just I really know what day it is anymore right now.
Seriously.
You know what? It's weird because they've taken so many days between games, and now that it's a short turnaround, I've got myself all screwed up. So Thursday for Friday, there you go. And so we'll break it down for you, look through the matchups, what's going on so far. Looks, right before we were recording this podcast, we saw Curry's expected to play. Everybody got nervous. He got that foot and ankle rolled up on, so that looks fine. Robert Williams had his best game, and he's listed as questionable, but he's going to play. So I think the good thing is we're going to have everybody, all hands on deck. So that gives us a good look at, who we're expecting to get the minutes and play, and we don't have to guess on anybody being in and out. Now, if that changes, we'll let you know right away in Discord for our members. And if you want to become a member, just go to dfscoachtalk.com. And you can sign up right there, even for a 3-day membership. You sign up today. If you're listening on Thursday, you can grab our Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If you're waiting and listening on Friday, then you get us all through the weekend. And it's going to be an exciting one, guys. I don't know if you saw my PGA lineup after this round 1, but in first place alone on the big contest on DraftKings. So I don't know if I'll last, but you know what? I'll take it. It's like 22,000 people or something, and we'll take first for right now.
That's awesome.
So we'll stick with that one and hope it gets through. Baseball, we're off to a great start today, and we've had some ups and downs, but we've had some real hot takedowns lately, and so we'll have that throughout the weekend. Obviously, our golf weekend lineup, if you didn't have a chance to get into the full deal, and then basketball, we'll have another game this weekend. So all kinds of stuff going on at Coach Talk here. We would love to have you join us. All right, we are going to dive into this. We want to make sure everybody has a time to listen in. So let's talk about the spread in Vegas here. It's been consistently the same pretty much every game. It seems like the home team is favored by 3 or 4, and Boston's favored by 4 here. And the over-under's been between 210 and 215. Same thing here at 214. So pretty steady as she goes. And, Curry and Robert Williams were listed as questionable, but from what I read, they're both playing. So again, we have a clean slate there. So it's really, this is go time. I mean, you can't ask for much more excitement. We have the big stink on social media about everybody mad that Boston fans were chanting, at Draymond. That's a little much with all those kids, with kids there. I'm not a big fan of it. So what we have to do, though, our own Mike S., part of our team, he was at the game. We need to know if he was part of that chanting. We're going to have to give him the business if he was doing that. So if you're listening, Mike S., I hope you were trying to quiet those bad fans, man. That's terrible. But no, it's all fun. It's funny. They asked Draymond after the game. I don't know if you saw his interview, but his little kid was with him, sitting right there. And the reporter said to him, "How do you think you played?" And he said, "I played like shit." And so I'm thinking, all right, if his kid's probably, and his kid didn't flinch, so he's probably like,
he's
whatever.
Used to that, right?
Yeah. It's pretty much par for the course. But all right, so I mean, the spread's the same. Everybody's in. I guess let's start with Golden State. We'll flip the script this time. So they're the team now with the pressure, because you don't want to go down 3-1. We all know that it's very, very difficult to come back from 3-1. It almost never happens. The Cavaliers are the last team to do it against Golden State. So Golden State really knows how that works. And so they need to win this game and tie it back up at 2 to get the home court back in Golden State. So what do we take from this last game, number one? And secondly, Crash, do you think that Curry's going to be less than 100%, or are you not even going to pay attention to that ankle foot injury?
Yeah, that's a good question. Last night it looked like for a while there that Golden State was going to be able to pull it off, especially late in the third quarter, early fourth. But, Boston just did what they do when they lose a game. They just bounce back and they're resilient and they just find ways to win. And now Golden State's kind of in that situation. So they got to win this game, I think, and they don't want to go down 3-1. And I think that Steph and Clay and, Wiggins and those guys, those are the three that I'm looking at the most. I think that Clay found his confidence a little bit in that last game and with his shot and everything going in. So I do think that Clay is going to have a solid game in game 4. And obviously Curry will do what he does. And then somebody else is going to have to step up, which I think it's going to be Jordan Poole, but I'm not, quite certain on that. But
yeah, let's look at the minutes real quick in that last game. We know Wiggins is playing huge minutes. He played over 40 again. He's a key guy for them and safe in minutes. Draymond, though, here's a great stat. In this finals, in the 3 games, he has 15 real points and 15 fouls.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
That's
so I guess that's a question for both of you. Is Draymond just scratch him? I mean, he played 35 minutes. He made 1 shot again.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I almost thought of when of the first series of the playoffs when Kyrie had that situation with the Brooklyn fans and they kind of got in his head. I wonder if that's what's going to happen to Draymond tomorrow, if those fans are going to be in his head and he's going to be playing kind of distracted.
You wouldn't think so. Podcast today, Crash, and he was chirping at him. So they're in his head.
Yeah, they're in his head. Yeah. And you wouldn't think so with a guy that's been in the league as long as he has, but he's human, and it is a thing that these fans can get in players' heads. So
yeah. They're going to be in his head, and I think it's going to cause him to get into foul trouble even earlier. He's going to be a little all over the place, and I wouldn't even be surprised, if he's at risk for 2 technicals in the next game. So I think the problem with Draymond now is, you never really relied on him for his points, but you could always expect somewhere around 15 assists and rebounds combined. And he's just not hitting it in this series.
No.
He's not crashing the boards. He's not able to, get even some of those, steals as well. He's been lighter on that in this series. And so I just think when you can't get those peripherals from him, he's not someone that you're relying on.
Yeah, it's tough with Horford and Williams down there. I mean, it's really tough for Draymond to really do much. Yeah. So
Robert Williams is an absolute monster, man. He is the next heir apparent, dominant center if he ever stays healthy.
He stays healthy, yeah.
Oh my gosh, he blocks everything or alters everything.
Yeah,
he's so athletic.
He had over 40 fantasy points in game 3, and it didn't feel like,
in 25 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes. Yeah.
I know. That was the one we all thought, there's no way he's not gonna get those blocks.
Right.
And boy, he was getting them left and right.
If you told me he'd get, and we've said this on every podcast, If you tell me he's going to get 25 minutes, which he almost got 26, I'll take him every time because his points per minute, DFS wise, are off the charts.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You give him 25 minutes plus, he's going to get those 4 blocks like he got, and he's going to get rebounds, and he's going to get some dunks. But, it's just, you see game after game, 15, 16 minutes, 17 minutes. But man, now we're back on that. But we'll talk about that, with them. But we're back in that, quandary again. Does he get enough minutes to pay off? So we're all in agreement that Draymond, we're getting out of that show. Now I will say I've been trying to warn everybody on Kevon Looney. Everybody wants to play him. He only got 16 minutes again here, and that's I think they're playing him more off the court because. The problem is now with Porter and Iguodala back and Poole needing to get minutes and Peyton back, somebody's got to sit. Yeah. And they're going to fly with Wiggins and Thompson and probably Draymond anyway, regardless. So that leaves pretty much Looney as the odd man out because Wiggins leads them in minutes. So I don't know. I mean, again, 3 for 4, 7 rebounds. I mean, he's been great in the minutes he's played, but we're back in that situation again, So,
and he's not that cheap. And you've been saying that since the beginning. So I think staying off that train makes sense. The one bummer for me not being on the podcast was I had the whole Klay Thompson issue, right? So I went hard with him last game and he was a total dud. So I was debating, okay, he's got to show up. Although I had in my head, game six, and it was a little early for game 6. So I was hoping to be able to, kind of do a gut check with you guys. And instead I said, no, I'm not going to risk it. Pulled him out of all my lineups and boom.
Oh.
Go figure.
The first time I actually played that under on his fantasy score, of course. He so.
Well, I'll tell you, it's the same song and dance with Klay. He's a volume shooter. Again, if you've watched every podcast, we love you. Thank you for doing that. And I know I say the same things all the time, but it's the truth. You get him 15 to 20 shots minimum, then Klay is very playable. He's had games where he's had 9 shots, 12 shots, and it's just not enough. He's a volume shooter, and he was 7 for 17 from the field, 5 for 13 from 3. And granted, he's, the peripherals aren't great, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but if he's going to score 25 to 35 real points, then, he's playable again. So the question is, are you guys going to bite right back or are you staying off them?
Those kinds of shooters are streak shooters.
Yeah.
I like them. And I think to your point, Coach, I think he was at 17 shots the last game. I think they figure out a way to get him 20 shots. And I do like him.
Okay. Yeah, and I think with Curry dealing with that injury, he might be a little bit more of a facilitator than usually would be, and that's going to play right into Klay getting more shots too. So I think that Klay got some confidence. He knows that they can't lose this game, and I think he's going to step up again. So,
does Curry lose any minutes? 37 minutes, 8 seconds, and of course he, at the end when Boston pulled away. It was a little bit different. So do you think Curry loses any minutes, and do those go directly to Jordan Poole?
Man, that's hard to say. That's really hard to say. One thing I was going to say about Klay too is he dropped to 10,000 on Fanduel. He was at 13 a week and a half ago, I think, and he had been around 12, 11, 5, somewhere around there, and now he's down to 10. Yeah. So he's probably going to get over-owned in this game. That's my one concern on FanDuel.
And we know leverage. Mike S., where are you, man? Yeah. Leverage.
Right.
Well, that's where Jordan Poole comes in, right? Because he's real cheap, but nobody's playing him.
Yeah.
He's down on minutes. He's hitting some shots. I mean, he's not, but a lot of those are in sort of more of a garbage time kind of thing. And he's not really core to the offense right now. So the question is, does Kerr feel like, hey, we got to switch something up? And so they get to him more. I don't know. I don't think Curry loses any minutes. I think, this is This is game 4 of the finals. Curry's going to play every minute he can physically play. I mean, he was in foul trouble, I think, the last game, right? So
yeah, he was in foul trouble. Yeah.
Right. So I think that limit, I think he gets over 40 minutes. So again, it comes down to, where are you going to get Poole's minutes from? I think he's a little bit of an odd man out too, because unless you want Gary Payton for a little bit of defense at times. And like you said, Wiggins is in there, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just don't see Poole getting enough minutes to really, unless he goes off and he's just, 6 for 6 from the onset. So they decide to sit with the hot hand. But
he's a difference maker, though. That's the tough part. He sparks you, and I think they need him. But again, I'm staying with my school of thought that they play them all, and Looney sits, down the stretch. I mean, that's what I think may happen. But I don't know. I mean, it's tough because Poole's pretty cheap, and if he gets the 25 minutes that he got, I mean, he's going to get you there. It'd be part of that winning lineup, but there's some risk. So last question is, do you like any of the fringe guys? Does anybody make it between Peyton, Porter, Iguodala, Bielitsa? I mean, any of those guys sniff a lineup for you?
Yeah, for me, they're just too spread out. There's just too much of a guessing game. Is it going to be Porter? Is it going to be Peyton? Is it going to be Iguodala? I don't want to go there. I'd rather take maybe some of the Boston value side and pay up for the top, 3 or 4 guys for Golden State if I take anybody from there.
Okay.
For me, it's only on DK, and it's only Porter if I need him as the last guy to fill in based on who I put at the top, because I don't trust any of those guys. But Porter's going to get 20 plus minutes. He may get you a 20 points. He may only get you 15 points, but he's so much less expensive than any of the other guys who are getting 20 plus minutes that right. I don't love it, but I might just need to stick him in.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And Peyton only got 11 in this game, Porter 21. So it makes it tough, though. We're back to that old dilemma that it's always is. Who do you sit between the big guys? Tatum, Brown, and Curry, and now sort of Thompson. I mean, something's got to give somewhere. So, all right, let's switch over to the Boston side and talk about the big green here, because, it's crazy. I mean, you've got really the swing game was Marcus Smart with 17 shots he got up, which I thought was amazing. But I mean, is it just Tatum and Brown and or bust? What do you think, Deb?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is a really well-rounded team, and Tatum's always going to get the most shots, but you don't have a situation like a Milwaukee where Giannis is going to, score double everybody else. So I think Tatum's in play. I think Smart's in play. I think Brown's definitely in play. And then even Horford, I continue to be high on Horford. I think he finally, he did have that down game in game 2, but came back in game 3, and they need him. He's a very important part of the team. And, he had, he only had 11 points. I think he just hit the over on PrizePicks, but he did have, 8 rebounds and 6 assists and a couple of stocks too. So he's someone that I'm going to continue to look at. And again, for me, it's just about what's that, do you put in, Tatum as your number 1 guy and just say, okay, let the chips fall as they may with everyone else? Or do you get somebody who's a little bit more value, like a Horford or a Smart, who can still get you 35, 40, but is at a better value? And then maybe you can sneak one more of those stars in. Because I agree with you. You can't play Curry, Tatum, and Brown.
Right.
No, it's impossible. And it's tough because they're probably going to be the 3 top scorers, more than likely.
Right.
So it's the matter of finding the guys. Really, it hasn't been 1, 2, 3 that have made or break, broken lineups. It's the 4 or 5 guys. If you can hit on those 2, then you're good. And that's what makes showdown slates, they're not my favorite, because they're a little hokey that way. But if you find those two, or you play multiple lineups where you can shuffle those two in there, then that's the way to go. But I don't know. I know that they're a balanced team. Horford and Smart contribute a lot, and Robert Williams, if he gets the minutes, the big $1 million question, but still the bread and butter of shots is going to go to Tatum and Brown. And I feel pretty strong about that. I really want both of those guys in there, especially with a game in Boston. I think Tatum gets a little shook more on the road. I think he's a little, not as focused, but I think he's better at home and Brown's better at home. So I may go up to both of them again. What about you, Crash?
Yeah, I was looking at that, the box score from game 3, and basically Brown and Tatum were right there neck and neck. And for me, it comes down to salary. You can save a little bit with Jaylen Brown. He tends to play better at home too. And I think that he is probably my top play from Boston. But I will say that Tatum hasn't been making a lot of threes like he usually does.
Right.
And I think that's something that he might be doing in this next game. So he might be. It's tough. It's really tough. I'm kind of leaning back and forth between the two of them. But one thing I was going to ask is because I didn't see all of it because I was watching part of the Brewers game while that game was going on. What happened to Derek White? He just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he played 23 and a half minutes, 3 for 9 from the field, but just, wasn't a big part of what was going on. He just somewhat faded. They stuck with Grant Williams as the extra guy in there, and he made some difference into his 20 minutes. But, it's just a bit of an off game. He wasn't really a key guy down the stretch for him, but it's not anything bad. I think he could step back into that.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing.
I think the other thing with White was that, Smart was having a really good game. And it seems like when Smart's a little bit off, White's getting his shot up a little. White needs to get his shot up to really, be viable. So I think that was part of it.
That was it, because Tatum's their point guard. I mean, really, the two is split between Smart and then, then
White or Pritchard or
right. So
I definitely hear you, Coach, on do you have both Tatum and Brown? And I think the only concern is with both Tatum and Brown, you end up needing to go to that sort of 25-minute a game guy.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, as I've looked at this series, nobody has scored over 50 from the team, fantasy points.
Yeah. Right.
Tatum's gone over 40 every game. Brown's gone over 42 of the games. And Smart and Horford have gone over one of the games and been in the 30s for another one of those games. So, I'm kind of looking at it like, do you take Tatum and Brown and then have to kind of, that last guy isn't so great? Or can you do a, Tatum, Smart, and Horford, or Brown, Smart, and Horford, and have a little bit more of a well-rounded lineup? So that's what I'm playing around with right now. It's a tough call. Clearly, Tatum and Brown are going to get you the most and the highest, but do you have to give up something to
and that's the whole thing. And really, in giving up something is, who do you have to put in on the backside? Is it going to be Robert Williams or Grant Williams or, Otto Porter Jr.? I mean, you're generally going to have to play one of those guys if you go that route. But I will say, you look at Tatum and Brown, and in this series, there's no two guys that have combined for more shots. Yes, Curry's taken a lot of shots, but when you combine the two amount of shots for their teams, Tatum and Brown have taken the most. They got another almost 40 up again this game. So, and they're both excellent free throw shooters, and, 5 for 6 both in this last game, and they both have their hands on the ball all the time. I mean, that's the thing that has pushed Brown up another notch for me, DFS wise. Here's another game where he had 9 rebounds and 5 assists. And, he wasn't giving you any of those ancillary numbers before. And now that he's, getting those minutes with Tatum, I have a hard time with that. As much as I love Horford, he only got up 7 shots. Robert Williams, I don't trust 25 minutes again. I mean, he only got up 5 shots.
Yeah,
it's not like they were going to him. And then, Smart, you might as well flip a coin with him, because he can have a game where he scores 4 real points, or he can have a game where he scores 24 like he did this last game. So I don't know how you come up to rhyme or reason on him. But then, after that, really, it's just the bench. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, I wanted to come into this podcast, though, with a stand like I usually do. And my stand is going to be Tatum and Brown. And I just think they dominate, play more, as much as it doesn't look like it. And people think, well, Boston has the better full team. I don't really agree with that completely, because Clay's been there. Wiggins is now, he's no youngster anymore. He's been around the league. He's stepped to a new level. They have players that have experience, and don't be surprised if you see Iguodala for a dozen minutes, or, Porter's been around for long enough. He'll get his 20. So anyway, that's my thought. But what else about Boston do you have, Crash?
What I was going to say is, if we've seen this trend, I mean, you can almost set your clock to it. Boston lets down after they get these big wins, and they almost always lose the next game. I don't know why. They just seem to be a team that likes to rotate wins and losses. So I think that they'll probably end up losing this game. And I think that, Tatum and Brown both will have to play very well for Boston to win this game. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't know that they both will. Usually it's one or the other that has the big game. So Horford or Robert Williams or Marcus Smart, one of those guys are going to have to be the ones to step up outside of those two. So I lean towards Robert Williams, actually, but that's just
what do you project his minutes at? Do you think he gets 25 again like this last game?
Yeah, I think he looked a little bit better to me in this last game than he has in the games before. So he might be getting his wind back, his conditioning, and his strength back.
He's still gimpy, though. I mean, watching him run up and down the floor, watching him on the bench, he's definitely not 100%.
Yeah.
That's my concern. But
right. But if he's out there getting blocks and steals, and, I mean, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. Like you said, he only took up, 5 shots? Yeah. So he doesn't have to score a lot. Points-wise, he can do a lot outside of that. So those kind of guys are invaluable when it comes to fantasy scoring.
All right, I'm going to throw one more wrench into the plans here, and you guys can tell me, what stands out to you. And I'm just because of time, I won't go through. By the way, at Coach Talk, we provide a core build for DraftKings and full lineups on Fanduel and Yahoo. So you're getting more with us than you're going to get anywhere else. But I'm going to go over DraftKings captain pricing, and I want to get a reaction from you guys if anybody stands out to you, or if anybody is like, no way I'm going to pay that for a captain spot for a guy. So I'm just going to give them to you in groups. The 3 guys that we talk about all the time that are much higher: Tatum 16.8, Curry 16.5, and Brown 14.7. Feedback, Deb?
In that grouping, I'd be looking at Tatum or Brown, not going up to Curry, just given his little bit of gimpiness.
Okay, that makes sense. Crash?
I'm actually leaning towards Curry. I've seen this movie so many times with him. When he gets in this situation in these road games, he'll have one of those games where he just goes absolutely nuts and takes his team to, carries his team to the win. It's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. I know he's banged up, but I just think he's going to be coming out lights out. And he's been shooting very well the whole series. So
he's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know where I'm going, and I've done it all the playoffs. I love Stephen Curry. He's one of my favorite players of all time, but I seem to fade him all the time. But I'm back in the same boat. I'm probably going to go the other direction. I just want to save all that money going down from Curry to Brown, because that's almost $2,000. And that's a lot on DraftKings. All right, the next group's all about the same. Let's get the feedback there. Deb, you can go first again. Marcus Smart 11-7, Al Horford 11-4, Andrew Wiggins 11-1. Anybody jump out?
For the captain spot, I'm leaning Wiggins out of those three.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Minutes, and even those few $100 can help you, go from like a, go from like a Porter to someone more viable, like a White or a Robert Williams.
Okay.
I think he has a higher ceiling than those players too.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're unanimous. I like
we have a 40 to 50 fantasy point game, and you won't really see that out of Marcus Smart usually. So
yeah, except the
Horford maybe. Yeah, he had 36, I think.
Yeah,
Smart did. So
and that's about it. That's 50. His ceiling, sort of. Yeah. I think.
Yeah,
it's right around there. Yeah.
All right, we agree on that one. So the next grouping, this is really interesting. I'm going to give you 4 guys. Klay Thompson 10-8, Draymond Green 10-2, which we've already all thrown him aside.
Good.
Kevon Looney 9-6, and Robert Williams 93. That's not, given away for free Robert Williams anymore.
Yeah. Go ahead, Deb.
Klay is my guy there. I think he continues the hot streak. Number 2 for me would be Robert Williams. I think I'm with you, Coach, on staying away from Looney, and I think we all agree that Draymond I guess Draymond could, take that, kind of the fans got in his head, and he could take that and go crazy. I mean, there is, he'd be an interesting GPP play.
I'm telling you, he's going to be more determined than ever. He was so pissed. I listened to his podcast. He podcasted today. He's podcasting during the series, which I don't agree with, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
But he's pissed. So the problem is going crazy for him is like 14 real points.
Yeah,
so I don't know if that's crazy or not.
20 rebounds and 4 stocks, right?
Dennis Rodman numbers. Yeah. Speaking of which, I wish we would have had the technology back then, because I could have just imagined if Dennis Rodman had a podcast back in the 90s.
Oh my God.
Thank God we didn't.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But for me, it's Klay 1. I mean, he's getting the minutes. He doesn't have the injury that Robert Williams does. Then I would probably go with Williams. Then I would go with Draymond. And then last would be Looney. I don't really like Looney at all in this game. So.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on Klay. I think he woke up. Granted, he's missed a ton of shots, but he did seem to look a little better. His form's been off all series, but
yeah,
I mean, he's such a competitor, and I think he'll dig in. I don't like any of the other guys at all. Green, Looney, and Williams will not make any of my lineups. All right, last one, guys. And this is the big one, because I'm telling you, it's going to come down to these 4 guys.
Yeah.
Whichever one of these guys or 2 of these guys you put in your lineup is going to be the difference maker. And listen to because you could use them as, one way to get all the studs in is go with the cheap guy as your captain. You've got Derek White at 9, Jordan Poole at 8-7, Otto Porter Jr. at 72, and Grant Williams at 66. Deb?
None of the above?
White, Poole, Porter, Williams.
I can't say none of the above.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna play around with any of them in my top spot. I just don't think they have the volume that gets there. I think they all score. They all score below 25.
Okay.
And on a 1.5 basis, that's just not going to get you there. The ones I like most for my lineup overall would be, again, I think Porter, given his pricing, I'd say Porter would probably be the one. I'm actually probably staying away from the other 3 almost altogether.
Crash?
It was White, Poole,
Porter, and Grant Williams.
I would probably go with Jordan Poole. And then on the off chance that Marcus Smart has one of his dud games, obviously that would bring Derek White back into the equation. And he's had 40 fantasy point nights.
Yes.
So, Derek White would be a consideration for me as well. So those 2, either White or Poole for me.
For me, I'm going to look at Jordan Poole here. In fact, I might use him as my captain. I know that sounds crazy, but only 8,700 brings all those big guys into play for me. And yes, I believe Curry's going to gut it out, but they're going to need Poole scoring. And I just think he's going to find the extra minutes for Poole. And even if it's, Looney coming off the floor or Draymond, if he's still playing like garbage, get him out of there.
If he gets tossed like Deb thinks.
Yeah. So, I think Jordan Poole is a sneaky play. And, the fact that you almost have to think it through in your head. Like if I'm going to go with the two studs from Boston, that doesn't leave a ton for the Whites and Grant Williams. You sort of have to balance it out. If you are going to fade a guy like Steph, which I'm embarrassed to say, but if you do, you got to think somebody like a Poole is going to pick up some of that slack. So you have to sort of play it out in your head. Not that works all the time, but you got to game script it and sort of try to figure out how that's going to come out. So that's sort of where I'm leaning. All right. Well, that's awesome. We went through everything, a little extra there. Let's finish up with prize picks, and then we'll do our game predictions since we've been doing pretty good on those so far. Here's the thing on prize picks. I'll go first because my first thing I want to play on prize picks as of right now, and again, it's Thursday for Friday. Now, it's now that I know my days, no Jordan Poole. He's not on the board. He's nowhere. He's not on any categories for anything. So I don't know if they just forgot him or what the hell's going on.
Or they're predicting he's not going to do very well.
He's not going to show up for the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I will mention the taco giveaway thing is, you take Tatum, that $25 max, and
that was my favorite.
Oh, that was my first pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why I said it, because I knew you guys were going to.
That's why you wanted to go first.
Cheater. Yeah. So my first pick's Jordan Poole, whatever, once he gets on the prize picks board.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, Crash.
Yeah, I'm going to take Klay Thompson over 19.5 points. I know I've been the Klay hater, but he got some of his confidence back last night, and I think that he'll have another solid game in game 4. Like I said, this is one of the kind of games that him and Steph know they have to step up and win this thing. So,
and you've been dogging Klay the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
Now he's your number one guy.
Yeah.
It happens. Deb?
My first pick, I'm going with it again. Crash and I had it the last time. Boston starters over 1.5 threes in the first 6 minutes. They hit it easily out of the gate. They keep shooting the threes. Yeah, I think they had 3 or 4 in the first 6 minutes last game.
Yeah, I think they hit 4. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool play. I like that.
I know we spent half the podcast dogging him, but I'm going to take Marcus Smart over 24.5 PRA. He had 27 in game 1. He had 36 in game 3, and he had 9 in game 2. So I think he'll regress from the 36 that he had in game 3, but I still think that he's going to get around 27 to 28 PRA is what my projection is. So Marcus Smart over 24.5 is my pick.
Deb, what's your second choice?
Yeah, my second is Jaylen Brown over 10.5 projected rebounds and assists. I think both Brown and Tatum are just they're handling the ball a lot. They're aggressive. They're getting the rebounds. And Tatum's a little higher though. He's up to 12.5, I think. So I'm going to go with Brown at over 10.5.
I like it. And I'm Jaylen Brown over points scored 24.5. I think he and Tatum both get over that number, but Brown's number is a little lower than Tatum. So I'm going to go Brown, real points over 24.5.
All right.
Your last pick, Deb, you can take the last pick.
You got it. Klay Thompson over 3.5 threes.
You're both on Klay.
Both on Klay. And I think if Klay is going to get those 20 shots, unless he's really off, he's going to get over. He's going to get at least
20 shots. He's hugely in play. That's for sure. Crash?
I'm going to take Golden State over 0.5 free throws in the first 6 minutes.
Wow.
All they have to do is get fouled, and that's it. So that's what I'm going to go with. That was a weird prop to me that I found late today, but I'm going to go with that.
I like it. You can watch the first 6 minutes and then go to bed. You're all set.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going with what I think is the best DFS player in this series. DFS, I didn't say overall player. And that is, of course, Mr. Jason Tatum. I'm going over PRA 39.5. So I'm expecting the big game from Tatum and Brown.
Nice.
And
all right, my friends, that is it.
Coach, game 4 predictions.
Predictions for the game.
Yeah.
Okay. You want I predicted overtime the last game that fell flat.
110 to 109. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a dud, but it looked like it for a little while. I was going to start talking noise in Discord when it was like tied.
What was it? What was the final?
The final was
last game.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
116, 100.
116, 100. Okay. Yeah, 110, 109. I had 106 to 94, but we both picked Boston. So.
Yep. All right. So what do you got this game, Crash?
Let's see.
We stunned them.
Yeah, you kind of just threw me into it right there. Golden State 108, Boston 100.
Okay, so you're taking Golden State and the under then.
What's the over/under?
It's
211.
It is 214.
214. Okay.
Yep. Okay, Deb, what do you have?
I've got 114 Boston. Sorry, 110 Boston, 104 Golden State.
Oh, very nice. And I've got 108, 107 in overtime.
Ooh.
Back-to-back overtime predictions. Boston.
Oh, Boston.
3-1.
Place that overtime bet.
Boston. Jaylen Brown with the winning shot. So I can keep on predicting.
Wow. I love it.
The lone wolf here, whatever.
I love the specificity.
Yes. So it's Golden State for Crash, and Deb and I think Boston go up 3-1. I do hope that, I don't know if they, the problem is if they make an announcement not to do it, they're going to probably do a double. So I'm not sure they're going to not be yelling, F you, Draymond.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
So I'm hoping they chill that down a little bit because, it's been a great series. You hate for anything stupid like that to cloud it,
Yeah, that's just lame.
As long as they don't go in Golden State and start, go in the opposite direction, then that really get bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that rolls. All right. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Any final words? No,
it's just been a great series, and I hope it goes 7. That's my hope. So.
Well, I'm hoping for 6 because I've got my money down on Boston 4-2. So.
Very nice. I had Golden State 4-1. So it goes to show you now that I'm picking Boston to go up 3-1. I would like to officially draw back my first prediction.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make it, Coach.
Hey, you got to go. You got to go with the information, whatever it feeds you.
I meant to say Boston in 5.
That's right. That's right.
I looked at the wrong notes.
Can we edit that tape, please?
Exactly. Colin, if you're listening, please do that. All right. Well, thank you so much. A lot of great stuff going on. We didn't cloud anything with a bunch of commercials today or, any crazy stuff. We wanted to get you right to the stuff. But come and join us. We'd love to have you join us. dfscoachtalk.com. Sign up for even as little as 3 days for $10. Try us out. If you're watching this on YouTube, on the way out, a quick thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, click the little alert in the upper corner. That'll let you know when any of our podcasts post. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I know we'll get great views and reviews now that Deb was back on after they hammered at Crash and I last time out. So thanks for all the positive comments. Keep them coming. We love and appreciate all of you listening in. So thank you very much. Enjoy your day, and we'll be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks.